The X-Men game is shaping up to be one of the biggest projects at Insomniac Games, and it's expected to arrive after Marvel's Spider-Man 3. We learned all of this following the massive Insomniac Games hack, which leaked internal documents, roadmaps, and long-term plans for nearly everything the studio has been working on behind the scenes. According to those leaked documents, Insomniac Games has been quietly developing an X-Men game for several years. However, fans should be prepared for a long wait before they can finally suit up as their favorite mutants. The leaks revealed multiple evolving roadmaps, showing that Insomniac's plans changed significantly over time due to internal strategy shifts and decisions from Sony. Let's break everything down step by step. Based on the leaked internal roadmap, Insomniac originally had a very ambitious release schedule planned out years in advance. Fall 2026, Marvel's Wolverine. 2027 originally planned as a DLC-focused year. Fall 2028, Marvel's Spider-Man 3. Around 2030, Marvel's X-Men. Interestingly, Man 3 was initially targeted for 2027, but it was later pushed to 2028 as the studio adjusted its priorities. The leaked timeline also suggested that after 2035, Insomniac would finally move on to a brand new IP, though it remains unclear whether that project would be completely original or still tied to Marvel in some way. One of the most surprising revelations from the leaks was Insomniac's original plan for Marvel's Wolverine. Early internal documents showed that Wolverine was intended to be the first game in a trilogy. However, those plans were eventually scrapped, and the studio decided to focus on a single standalone title instead. In even earlier versions of the roadmap, the Wolverine sequel was actually labeled as X-Men, suggesting that Insomniac viewed Wolverine as the foundation for a much larger mutant-focused universe. Under this interpretation, Wolverine could effectively serve as X-Men Part 1, with a dedicated X-Men game acting as the second major entry in an interconnected franchise. The roadmap also hinted at X-Men 3, planned around 2033, though whether that would be a direct sequel, a spin-off, or an entirely new concept remains unknown. Another major aspect of the leak involved Insomniac's long-term multiplayer strategy, which has since been completely abandoned. The extended roadmap revealed plans for a multi-phase online system. Man2 Online Multiplayer 1.0 hours or 2026 Wolverine Online 2.0 2028, X-Men Online's Multiplayer 3.0 hours. Each game would build on the same multiplayer architecture, improving and expanding it over time. Insomniac had reportedly been developing this shared multiplayer framework for years. There was even another multiplayer concept called Spider-Man the Great Web, which was eventually rejected and canceled during development. So why did all of this change? Sony's internal strategy shifted dramatically. Maintaining live service and multiplayer games requires enormous long-term resources, and Sony realized that this would negatively impact the development of single-player, story-driven games, that which are Insomniac's biggest strength. This same shift is why projects like The Last of Us Online were canceled. As a result, Spider-Man Online, Wolverine Online, and X-Men Online were all scrapped, allowing Insomniac to fully refocus on premium single-player experiences. Based on Wolverine game leaks, we can already speculate on which characters may appear in the X-Men game. Spoiler warning, just in case. Confirmed or heavily implied characters include Wolverine, Sabretooth, Mystique, Jean Grey, Mr. Sinister, Omega Red. On top of that, we can safely expect core X-Men characters such as Cyclops, Professor Charles Xavier, Magneto. These characters suggest that Insomniac is aiming for a deep story-driven X-Men narrative, potentially inspired by darker and more mature comic arcs rather than a lighthearted superhero tone. One final major detail from the leaks is the official release date for Marvel's Wolverine. According to internal documents, the game is scheduled to release on September 15, 2026. While this date could still change, it gives us a solid idea of where Wolverine fits in Insomniac's long-term timeline and how far away the X-Men game really is. It's clear that X-Men is one of Insomniac Games' most ambitious projects ever, but it's also one that will take time. Between Venom, Wolverine, and Marvel's Spider-Man 3, the studio is building a massive interconnected Marvel universe, one that could eventually rival anything we've seen in gaming so far. Now I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on Insomniac's X-Men game? Which mutants do you want to see playable? And do you think canceling multiplayer was the right move? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe for more gaming news and updates. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.